In this video,
Westfall has never been knocked off his feet until now.
We look back at the prime and decline of Charles Sonny Liston.
9 and 10. The fight is over in the first round.
I think Liston is the most criminally underrated heavyweight champion. He had great technical skills. We will look back at his prime years. The general consensus is that his prime years were from about 1958 to 1963. We also look at Liston as a man and question who he really was.
Sonny Liston, reputed to be the most feared man in boxing at any weight.
We then look at the final chapter of his life and his mysterious death only 6 months after this final fight. Liston started rising through the ranks with a series of knockout performances.
And then Liston gets home a left hook. Bethia gamely tries to hold on. Liston with another left hook, a right and another left, and Bethia is down.
In his win over Wayne Bethia, Liston's powerful hooks actually knocked out some of Bethia's teeth.
Bethia is out on his feet, and the referee, showing good ring sense, stops it.
In his next fight against Billy Whitehurst, Liston controlled the fight with his power jab.
Tremendous muscles, looks like a weightlifter.
Notice how Liston maintains perfect balance at all times. It didn't take long before Liston got his powerful hooks going.
Good stiff right. A good chopping right.
Liston realizes he can get into position to land the right hand after he doubles his jab up.
Sonny Liston.
It leads to a brutal knockdown out of the ring. We will see Liston do this to another opponent later.
12 seconds left. 6, 7, 8, 9. The bell rang. That was about as close as we've ever seen a finish. Whether he was knocked out, the bell rang, and I don't know whether the referee's going to call it a knockout or not. Is that a knockout?
In one of his best performances ever, Liston outclassed and destroyed Cleveland Williams. Liston started the fight showing off his defensive skills. After getting his jab going, Liston took the fight to mid-range and started letting his powerful hooks go.
Nice chopping right hand by Sonny Liston. And throwing now an occasional lead with his right hand. Sonny Liston bombing him in there now.
Liston has extremely long arms, but he can shorten up his hooks and become an inside fighter. If you don't have good lateral movements, Liston is a nightmare to fight because he can touch you at all ranges.
When Liston stays in close, he gets all the better of it with Cleveland Williams. Is responding.
Nowhere is safe for Cleveland.
From his corner now to stay in tight on the big fella.
Notice how Liston always has great head position on the inside. He takes away his opponent's offense, especially uppercuts.
And a left hook catches Cleveland Williams and drops him. 4. Williams groggy yet. Liston moving in now, hunting for the one that can end it. Cleveland Williams battling to stay on his feet. Bang to the canvas again. 3, 4.
Liston's fight against Bezmenov was a great display of his overall skills. There was an emphasis on brutal body punching. As usual, Liston's impeccable head movement was on display early. As well as his pile driver jab.
As I mentioned, there was no...
After picking some nice punches outside, Liston started targeting the body.
Sonny Liston dug a left hook into the midsection. One minute to go.
Notice the involuntary lifting of the leg from the opponent after that body shot. I've watched all of Liston's fights, and I think this beautiful lead uppercut is the best punch I've seen him throw in his entire career.
2 minutes to go in this round, and Besmanoff is taking a pounding now. Liston right above us now, and a left hand has split the right eyebrow of Besmanoff as he takes terrific punishment in this corner.
The opponent retires after taking a beating in that round.
A leading contender for the heavyweight title from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Sonny Liston.
Despite most people considering Liston the best active heavyweight, champion Floyd Patterson and his manager Cus D'Amato elected to fight Ingemar Johansson in a rubber match instead of fighting Liston. Liston was not happy about being frozen out of the heavyweight title, despite the general consensus being that he was the best.
Well, I've fought all the top contenders, and I've fought my way up to the #1 spot. So what do a man have to do to earn a shot at the title?
I think Liston should have already been champion at this point if he was managed right and had better opportunities. In his rematch with Cleveland Williams, Liston picked up where he left off, landing powerful hooks inside. Liston's got every punch in the book. He uses the overhand right to hurt his opponent multiple times. Liston knows that Williams doesn't clinch and has no defense for Liston's hooks inside.
Comes a tremendous overhand right by Liston. Sonny follows it up with a smashing right and left hook to the jaw, which puts Williams down. Cleveland is up at the count of 8, and Liston wants to finish it. He closes in on Williams in the corner and sends in a volley of rights and lefts to the head. Williams goes down for the second time from that barrage of punches. Williams gets to his feet, and the referee examines him closely and decides to stop the fight. Liston moves in, but the referee steps between the two fighters and wisely declares a knockout victory for Sonny Liston. Sonny walks over to shake hands with Williams. Liston knows he's been in a tough fight, and he doesn't hesitate to acknowledge it. It's a great win for Sonny.
Liston's next fight against Roy Harris was another explosive showing. After taking a short time to figure out his range, Liston went to work. It's rare that fighters can land lead left hooks that opponents don't see coming.
Harris is up at the count of 9, but he's in real trouble.
A final lead right hand ended the fight in the first round once again.
Liston moves in with a devastating right to the head, which floors Harris for the 4th time. While Roy is on the canvas, the referee moves in and called a halt to the fight. With this victory, Sonny Liston is definitely the #1 ranking challenger in the heavyweight division.
Liston's fight against Eddie Machin was a frustrating affair. Machin turned up in survival mode and made no attempt to win the fight. Machin was running from Liston's jab and power shots, so Liston decided to target the body on his moving opponent.
The silence was to move in for a counter.
Machin didn't like the hooks to the body, but who would?
Liston snapping and hitting at anything now. Just popping out there, hitting gloves, arms, getting him in the body wherever he can land a punch. And the Liston jab was displayed there.
This fight is the only time where we see Liston lose his cool in the ring, slightly. He had points deducted for low blows.
Let me know when 1 minute has gone by. As he calls time, and the low blow came in. And Eddie Machen doubled over, collapsed to the canvas, says he's all right.
Liston got the clear win and moved ever closer to his title shot.
Liston, 119.
At this point, Liston had been #1 contender for almost 2 years.
Times in rage, he nevertheless maintained his position at the top of the list of the heavyweight contenders. And Sonny, it was a tough guy to find, though, aiming for the head, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was moving all the time. Is Sonny Liston, reputed to be the most feared man in boxing at any weight.
From Philadelphia, Charles Sonny Liston.
In his next fight, he fought German heavyweight champion Albert Westphal on the same night that champion Floyd Patterson fought Tom McNeely. They were both expected to win and fight each other next. Liston wanted to make a statement, and he did that emphatically.
Westphal has never been knocked off his feet until now. That's the first time Westphal has ever been on the floor. 8, 9, and 10. The fight is over in the first round.
If anyone didn't think Liston was the best heavyweight in the world, this image of Westphal badly hurt on the canvas was very convincing.
And as you saw, the right set him down.
On the biggest night of his career, Liston was booed into the ring as challenger against champion Floyd Patterson.
Pennsylvania, Sonny Liston. The world heavyweight boxing champion, Floyd Patterson.
Liston wasted no time as a beautiful long-range uppercut effectively ended the
The
fight.
champion shaking off the effect of that left hook.
Patterson never recovered and got clubbed to the canvas.
A left to grazing right and a solid left to the cheekbone dropped the champion.
It was yet another first-round blowout for Liston.
Liston surprises many observers and Patterson with his good right uppercut. And now that final combination, the left, the grazing right, and then a solid left.
And he was now seen as the best heavyweight of all time.
I think Liston probably has been rated by most of the people in America that he was the greatest heavyweight champion of all time.
Liston was now the heavyweight king. He always thought that winning the heavyweight title would get the fans on his side and make his life easier. Liston was seen as a bad guy, but that role chose Liston. He didn't choose it. He was looking forward to getting home and being embraced by his appreciative fans and distancing himself from the bad guy persona. Everybody loves and admires the heavyweight king, right? But when Liston got home, he received no fanfare. The press and media were still treating him like a thug. The cops still gave him grief. Liston's wife would later reveal that he was devastated by this. I think all of this pushed Liston even further to the dark side. Liston and Patterson would have a rematch for the heavyweight title. Liston decided he would just walk through Patterson and blast him away, and that's what he did.
Patterson, trying to get underneath the champion's straight punches, runs into a right uppercut which sets up the challenger.
Notice Liston just walking through Patterson's punch.
The challenger's long right hand grazes the champion's chin, but
but Liston's countering left hook is on target and sets up.
I think the Patterson style was just made for Liston. Liston didn't have to go looking for Patterson.
Two jarring right hands are followed by the knockout blow, the left uppercut.
And his superior firepower was far too lethal for Patterson to take. Liston's mob connection was highlighted in the American Senate as mobster Frank Carbo was questioned on his relationship with Liston.
Business connection with John Vitale and Frank Palermo in the management or the contract of Sonny Liston, the #1 heavyweight contender?
I respectfully decline to answer a question on the ground that I cannot be compelled to be a witness against myself.
Liston's next fight was considered the biggest upset in boxing when he lost to the young Cassius Clay. I covered that fight in previous videos. Check the link in the description. Liston came into the fight with 6 minutes of ring time in the previous 3 years as he had blasted through his opponents in 1 round. That's hardly the right preparation for the best heavyweight of all time. Clay's speed was too much, and despite Liston showing some good skills, he retired at the end of the 6th round. Doctors would officially report that Liston was carrying a shoulder injury into the fight. The rematch was controversial. Liston went down from the so-called phantom punch, and many felt he threw the fight.
A right hand shot on the chin. Jersey Joe Walcott. Sonny cannot move. Check the time.
Liston didn't really seem too bothered about it in the post-fight presser.
Oh, either, man, it don't make no difference. I'm in a position now where I can't squawk. I might have to fight you.
In the position now where he can't squawk, you'd have to fight anybody. You seem to be in good humor. Did you hear it, Lester?
Yeah. Ain't no use, ain't no sense of being in bad humor.
Meanwhile, Ali couldn't wait to tell everyone about his new punch technique.
And you can't punch it until the man is coming in at you. That's like a head-on collision. One car doing 50, hitting the back of a car going 50, doing the same way, it's not much shot. But you turn the car around and bring them together head-on, it's a shot. So the man, I had to time the man with my rhythm and bouncing where he was coming at me and where I was meeting him, and just, that's all.
Goodbye, Jack.
Twist. And you can't see it, but if you were hit with it, all of you'll be out.
I think Liston threw the fight. He had an iron chin, and it didn't seem like enough of a punch to get this kind of reaction. Liston would never get the heavyweight title back, and he would be dead in mysterious circumstances just 5 years later. The general consensus is that his prime years were over at this point. I think he does look slower against Ali, and his prime was over at this point. He still retained solid fundamental skills. Here's my opinion on the remainder of his story. Liston's comeback began with an easy KO of German champion Gerhard Zeck.
Zeck manages to rise, but the referee says it's all over.
Liston destroyed Amos Johnson next. Johnson made the mistake of trading hooks, and then Liston sets up a nice uppercut off his jab.
Hits the deck for the 3rd time. A version of a victory grin.
Liston showed his short right hook was still deadly in his next fight against Dave Bailey. Liston fought against Elner Rush next, and he was able to set up his right hand at will.
Rush is on the canvas. There it is. Down goes Rush. Liston is truly explosive tonight. Now Liston lands a right uppercut flush on the jaw. That's it. That punch had finish written all over it.
In his next fight against Bill McMurray, Liston showed that, despite nearing the end of his career, he still retained good head movement. Liston's jab was still able to land.
Liston looking to land that one.
And his vaunted pressure was being applied to his opponent. Liston was slower now and had to take his time, but his power was still evident in his combination punching.
A dynamite combination of punches by Sonny Liston.
One thing you couldn't do against Liston was hanging out on the ropes.
Ripping punches by Sonny Liston. Tremendous punches by Sonny Liston. And McMurray goes down from a murderous barrage of punches.
McMurray wasn't the first opponent to get punched out of the ring by Liston.
The referee stops the fight.
In Liston's fight against Billy Joyner, Joyner was completely outclassed. He retired in his corner. In Liston's next fight against Scrap Iron Johnson, Liston was able to do what he wanted. Liston found success with his 2-1 combination, the right-left. Johnson never adjusted and kept getting caught with that combo. Liston got the stoppage.
It's amazing that Johnson is still standing. It's all over. The referee stops the fight.
Liston's fight with Leotis Martin was a shocking fight. Liston was in control of the fight and dropped Martin in round 4 when Martin dropped his left hand after throwing a right.
It was overdue. The left hook got in there squarely, just off the side of the chin.
But Liston looked old and slow, and he got tired.
Sonny Liston is tired. He is bleeding. You can see it. It's been opened over his nose. It reminds me of that day in Miami Beach when suddenly Muhammad Ali opened his face and he tasted his own blood.
Liston started getting out-jabbed, and his head movement wasn't what it was.
The end of round 8. By all odds, Leotis Martin's best round, as Liston begins to show major signs of fatigue. A sudden turnabout in this fight for the spot, not wanting to expose himself. There, the right by Martin. Oh! Liston is knocked down with the right and then the left, and he is knocked out. This fight will be over.
I always find it sad when great fighters look old and get knocked out like this.
Not yet revived, Sonny Liston. You look at him there now. I will stay at ringside momentarily. You see Liston, and they are struggling to revive him. You see Liston as they struggle to revive him. A compelling, crushing knockout. Even fight, stay Anglican. But what? Charles, Sonny Liston has just gotten up. Let's talk to Sonny for a minute too, Leotis. Champ, Dick, what happened?
If I know that, maybe it wouldn't happen.
In any event, Sonny, what do you feel now? Are you going to continue to fight, or are you going to pack it in?
Well, it's hard to say.
In the final fight of his career, Liston took on Chuck Wepner. Liston was once again looking slow and ponderous. It's thought that he was well into his 40s.
Liston shipping punches again. There is a good left uppercut in there, and punches thrown after the bell.
Notice that Wepner is on very unsteady legs at the end of the round.
Unsteady, and they're going to have a long look at that injured eye. Feverish work on that injury, and the ring doctor going across to have a close look. That's Reginald Farrer. Wepner surely knows now that the writing is on the wall. That face is a terrible, terrible mess.
Liston got the win on cuts, but there were some strong rumors that the mob lost a lot of money because Liston was supposed to lose this fight. Liston would end up dead 6 months after this fight. His wife came back from a trip to find his decomposing body in their bedroom. It is thought Liston was dead for at least 5 days. Many theories circulate as to what happened. Liston's wife did not call the police until 3 hours after she found him. A small quantity of heroin and weed were found in the house. Las Vegas police concluded that it was a heroin overdose. Liston was known to drink alcohol, but many people close to him felt he wouldn't take heroin because he was afraid of needles. Liston had some issues with mobsters and was seen having arguments with some powerful people in the weeks preceding his death. There is also a theory that Liston just had a heart attack while getting undressed and fell on the bed. I'm not sure about that one. Liston was still a competitive fighter and a very strong man, but he had a very hard life, and if he was using drugs, it's very possible his heart just gave out. I don't see why the mob would have him killed when they could just get their money back by fixing his next fights. It's possible he was killed over a personal dispute or a mob dispute. I just have no idea, and it remains one of the biggest mysteries. I think it was a sad way for someone like Liston to go. I think Liston was a good guy deep down. Liston was known to love kids, and when he couldn't have them with his wife, he adopted a boy. He had the roughest upbringing anyone could have in 1930s Arkansas. He became the champ, and his heart was broken when he wasn't embraced and accepted as a people's champion. I think that really broke his heart. I think Liston should be remembered as a champion with great technical skills. Charles Sonny Liston achieved his place in history. He's definitely in the list of top 10 heavyweights of all time, where he belongs.